coming up next on NCC News at 4. Wisconsin comes out to voting booths in droves today for an election a year in the making. And a local high school basketball star who is trying to use the sport to travel the world.
I'm Caitlin Francis, and the debate on hydraulic fracturing continues with some big names you might not expect. NCC News at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for NCC News at 4. I'm Sarah Judas.
And I'm Sarah Wheeler.
Our top story tonight, the recall election in Wisconsin for Governor Scott Walker and his opponent, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett. NCC News reporter Brennan Summers is live with some local reaction. Brennan?
Yes, Sarah, this election here in Wisconsin is picked to be a battleground state for the fall presidential election, and they're calling this governor recall vote a preview to what could come this fall.
If there was any indication just how close the November presidential election might be, look no further than today's recall for the governor's seat in Wisconsin.
I met a couple people who told me they voted for my opponent the last election, but they're voting for me in this election because
Governor Scott Walker faces a recall against his 2010 Democratic opponent, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett.
It started with a violation of integrity, which led to this grassroots movement.
Following statewide protests last year by labor activists upset with Walker's cuts to collective bargaining rights for public employees, the recall election is now in the political spotlight, with many viewing today's vote as a bellwether to the fall presidential race.
I'm not sure that the election today will necessarily affect how voters see the fall election, but I do think it's going to have a big impact on the nature of the political debate.
Syracuse University political science professor Dr. Jonathan Hansen says while no governor has ever won a recall election, this race may come down to money, and donors gave Walker just that. And so I think that gives Walker a better chance to survive than some of these previous recall elections. What today's result means for the November election remains to be seen, but for now, all eyes are on Wisconsin.
Now, they expect this race to be very tight, meaning the votes will be counted late into this evening. So tomorrow on NCC News at 4 and 4:40, we'll have all the results and a breakdown looking forward to the presidential election this November. Reporting live for NCC News, I'm Brennan Summers.
Police say the woman who crashed into a tree while driving an ATV in Lafayette has died. Sharon Kraft of Syracuse died Monday afternoon at Upstate University Hospital. Troopers say she suffered severe head trauma when her ATV crashed off a dirt trail, hit a fence, and then an apple tree on Sunday. Police say she wasn't wearing a helmet when she crashed on Beacon Skiff apple orchard property. The cause of the crash is still being investigated.
The group that promoted 2 concerts has sued Onondaga Community College after the college canceled both concerts. AMP Entertainment says the cancellations will cost at least $200,000, according to a lawsuit filed in state Supreme Court. AMP partner Scott Mashaw says he had no choice but to sue the operators of SRC Arena because the college refused to return ticket money. The 8-band Trespass America Festival has been moved to Oswego Speedway. Mashaw said about 1,000 tickets had been sold by May 14th when OCC canceled the show via email. A statement made by the college yesterday said, quote, no contracts were executed for 2 concerts proposed by AMP Entertainment. There's tension in North Syracuse School District. Teachers are not happy with Superintendent Kim Dice-Fassaught's performance. The teachers union agreed last year to freeze their salaries to help balance the budget. But now there are rumors that administrators in the district, including Dice-Fawcett, might soon be seeing pay raises. The union says if the raises are true, it would be a, quote, slap to the face of the union, unquote.
Syracuse University is one of 10 schools promising to give incoming students more information on costs and financial aid. The participating schools will work with the Obama administration to provide students with data that ideally helps with financial burdens after school. White House officials are expected to meet today to discuss ways to reduce tuition costs. The university's commitments will take effect in the 2013-2014 school year. People in Syracuse ride their bikes to work more than any other city in New York. According to the American Community Survey, 1.1% of Syracuse residents are bike commuters. Syracuse First Organization Director Chris Fowler recently organized a Bike to Work Day and is also involved in the Syracuse Bike Plan.
There's something about being in a car that disconnects you from your community and your surroundings. When you're on a bicycle, you're actively engaged in those things.
The Syracuse Bike Plan, which will be introduced this summer, will include maps of proposed and current bike routes. The city's new sustainability plan aims to accommodate bicyclists on the same level as cars.
Assumption Cemetery in Salina has no idea who is stealing metal flag holders from veterans' graves. The families of veterans started noticing the missing flag holders about a week before Memorial Day.
It's just very sad that the veterans are right around Memorial Day, especially Memorial Day, are losing the one thing that shows that they are veterans.
The cemetery has filed a police report with the Onondaga Sheriffs. To date, 10 metal flag holders are missing. Assaults spiked in Syracuse the week May 21st through May 27th, according to Post Standard's reported crimes database. The red pins shown here display the reported assaults across some of Onondaga County. There were 26 aggravated assaults reported that week, with 20 of those in Syracuse and 6 outside of the city. That's 18 more than the week before. George Zimmerman's lawyer is delaying his request for a new bond hearing. His attorney, Mark O'Mara, made the announcement on his legal team's website but offered no explanation for the delay. O'Mara says a new bond hearing won't take place for several weeks, during which time Zimmerman will stay in jail. He returned to custody on Sunday after his bond was revoked. Prosecutors say Zimmerman and his wife misled a judge about how much money they had to put up for the bond.
Jury selection in the trial of Jerry Sandusky began today. Both prosecutors and Sandusky's defense lawyers were present at the Pennsylvania courthouse for selection, which could last several days. The former Penn State assistant football coach is accused of 52 counts of alleged abuse of boys ages 10 to 15. He has denied all of these charges.
Auto company Kia has recalled more than 70,000 of its Rio car models. The company has recalled a small car from the 2006 to 2008 model years to fix a problem with the front airbag. A front passenger seat sensor might fail to detect a child sitting in the seat, meaning the airbag would go off at the time of a crash, potentially harming the child. Kia will replace the sensors for free beginning in July.
It's been a little chillier than usual outside this week and rainy too. Caitlin Francis is outside on the patio with a look at our weather. Caitlin, what's it looking like out there?
Hi, Sarah. Well, actually, we just missed a whole bunch of sunshine. There's some dark clouds, I don't know if you can see, that have just really come overhead quickly. But right behind me, there's still some blue skies, and hopefully they come back pretty soon. But we're looking at some showers later on tonight. The current temperature is about 68 degrees still, even without the sunshine. And we've got some low humidity today. It's about 51%. The barometric pressure is also low at 29.92. And we've got we're really below average at this point. We've got our temperature again at 68. We should be around 75, and our low is going to be also a lot lower than usual. Our record high, is 94, which was set in 1964, and the record low was 36 degrees. Again, at 68 degrees. Hopefully the sun comes out soon, but it's not too bad out here, Sarah. Back to you in the studio.
Well, if there aren't too many clouds tonight, you might be able to see something you won't be able to see for another century. That story and more when NCC News returns. Yep.
Robin, put your hair on front of IFB. Other side.
Robin, do a mic check, Robin.
Mic check.
Hello, hello. Wait, what?
Your hair is wrapped underneath your spiral. Look in the sky tonight, and chances are you might see something that happens once in a blue moon. Robin Estabrook is here to explain. Robin?
Sarah, it's called the Venus Transit, and it won't happen for another 105 years, but people everywhere, including in Syracuse, are hoping to see it.
With special telescopes and glasses, people are going to be hoping to get a look at the Venus Transit. Syracuse Astronomical Society President Damian Ellis says it's a rare event where Venus passes in front of the sun.
So Mercury and Venus are the only two planets that ever transit for us, which means they go between us and the sun because all the other planets are farther away than the Earth. It's just really the space between the planets and just the size of the orbits. You have to wait very long periods of time for everything to just come in sync.
People can't stare directly at the sun, so you have to be careful to avoid eye damage. And you can't use regular binoculars or telescopes.
If you ever burned a leaf with a magnifying glass, imagine that being 100 to 1,000 times more powerful, instantly burning holes in your retina.
So to look at the sun, you use batter or solar filters. You can put these on telescopes or use them as glasses. Alice says astronomers are planning to document the event with the latest technology.
And it's really just the history of astronomy. It's just one of those great events that changed everything. And so astronomers and amateur astronomers now are just trying to do the same thing and just kind of recapture that event.
Besides the equipment to view the sun and the Venus Transit, all that is needed is a clear sky.
It'll be safe and hopefully sunny.
The Venus Transit will start at 6 p.m. tonight, and there's a viewing party at the most. If the clouds are out, it will be hard to see, but we'll let you know what's coming up in weather.
Families crowded a hospital in Lagos, Nigeria today in hopes of identifying the bodies of their loved ones following Sunday's crash. The plane crashed in a busy suburb, killing all 153 people on board. Nigerian officials are still investigating the cause of the crash, but say the pilot did report engine trouble shortly before. The U.S. State Department confirms American citizens were on board the flight, but did not confirm how many. To Syria now, where there are reports government troops have faced heavy losses recently. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports nearly 80 government troops have been killed in the last few days. If true, the losses would be some of the greatest for the troops since the uprising began more than a year ago.
The Canadian porn star accused of killing his boyfriend is believed to have been captured in Berlin. One Canadian official says that 29-year-old Luca Rocca Magnotta was caught yesterday, but Berlin officials have yet to confirm the identity of the man, only to say an arrest was made based on an intentional warrant. Magnotta is accused of killing 33-year-old Juan Lin, dismembering his body and mailing the parts to Canadian Parliament. More details now on the U.S. drone strike against al-Qaeda's second-in-command. U.S. officials have just confirmed a few hours ago that the drone strike did in fact kill Yahya Aliba. The drone struck a house that the leader was staying in. The attack also killed his driver and guard. Log on to nccnewsonline.com for updates on the story as they come in.
Well, the Queen of England took to the streets of London today to mark the final day of the Diamond Jubilee celebration, honoring her 60 years on the throne. Crowds lined the streets cheering, "God save the Queen," and applauding their royal gem's success. The Queen ended the day with a rare public address.
I hope that memories of all this year's happy events will brighten our lives for many years to come.
The Queen was without her husband, Prince Philip, who is in the hospital with a bladder infection. Coming up on NCC News.
Alec Baldwin was recently in town for a movie screening, but he also had some thoughts on hydrofracking. We'll let you know what he said after the break.
Yes.
Fracking in the Marcellus Shale is currently on hold while new regulations go through approval. But it's still a hot-button issue in the area. Caitlin Francis has more from a recent event featuring some big names.
Thanks, Sarah. Although most stories have at least two sides, the event What the Frack, featuring Alec Baldwin alongside other no-frack advocates, focused heavily on just one, anti-fracking.
We can't accept anything less but no fracking whatsoever.
Several hundred people came out to support Gasland and the No Frack movement in Syracuse, including Alec Baldwin.
The energy industry lifted weights, pumped up in the basement where you're taking, while you're going to bed, wondering what's going to happen. And they're out there, muscular, working hard to do what? To manipulate government. It's all about law. These are issues about money, economics, law, beyond science and policy.
No frack advocates say hydraulic fracturing or hydrofracking can cause serious health effects.
It's not worth it. I mean, basically what the gas companies are doing is coming in and devaluing every place that they go.
While contaminating bigger bodies of water could be an issue, the main concern is what could come out of your faucet.
Yes, I signed the lease. It was a beautiful day in the fall, and the landman came down the driveway, and he said, "Beautiful day, ma'am." And that's the last honest thing I ever heard from a gas company person. It was all downhill after that. I have not been drinking my water since 2009.
Schweitzer said her water became undrinkable because of the chemicals from hydrofracking. Opponents say, keep it out of New York.
Make sure that New York State positions itself as an energy independent state.
Look at this great theater wing, the landmark theater, one of the most famous buildings here in Syracuse and in central New York, which is a testament to how much people believe in preservation. How much people believe in honoring and preserving things of value in their past. And we're asking people to have the same feeling about the water supply of central New York that they have to this building here in downtown Syracuse.
Many places in New York have already put a ban on hydrofracking. Now, proponents of hydrofracking say it could boost the state economy by bringing more jobs. Sarah Baldwin said he invited some of these pro-fracking groups, but got no response.
Up next, NCC sports reporter Erica Morrow will tell you about a local high school basketball star who may not make the NBA, but is on to Plan B.
David, can Tad check mic 3, please? Tad, can you...
You guys might answer for 7 minutes. That's 7 minutes. We're just a little bit late.
David, can Tad check mic 3 for me, please?
After her story? Sarah, you can take the lead since
Mic check, mic check.
If you want.
What?
They're going to ask you a couple questions
Needs a few right just the hair.
Yes. Is that good?
Yep.
All right. Oh, wow. Hello.
NCC Sports reporter Erica Morrow joins us live in the studio with the story about a former local basketball star that's trying to use the game to get out of Syracuse. Erica.
To make it out of a community like the south side of Syracuse was Cornelius Vine's goal since childhood, one of the many he has accomplished. I got a chance to hear his story. On and off the court. Person, both only making himself a better that role by constantly. He is actively taking on
the kids don't have
positive people to guide him. Never made it without Cornelius. He would have.
You know, growing up on the south side, it was like kind of every man for himself. It was like, you know, you got to do something positive to get up out of there.
And that's what Cornelius did. He attended junior college in Iowa to improve his grades and was finally offered a full 2-year scholarship to Hofstra University. But before leaving, he had some growing up to do.
My mom wasn't around no more, so I had to mature, I had to become a man. You know, it was times I cried, tell her I wanted to come home, and she tell me, if this is what you want to do, you got to stick it out.
Cornelius's mom became his crutch, helping him transition to Hofstra and do something no one in his family had ever done.
I think I'm successful. Probably not in other people's eyes, but in my eyes and my family eyes, I'm successful. I got to play Division I basketball. A lot of people didn't get to play that.
But as reality started to set in, Cornelius realized his dreams of playing in the NBA might not be true. So he did what he had always done, moved to Plan B.
My thing right now is just getting my feet in overseas, wherever. I don't care right now. I just want to get my feet in the door and show everybody I can play the game of basketball.
So every day at 6 a.m., Vines' day starts with a workout and is followed up by some on-the-court work. But most importantly, being a positive role model to his nephew Joel's and other children. Because to Cornelius, he would have never made it without positive people to guide him.
But as a coach, as a male coach, you know, sometimes in households, the kids don't have fathers. So, you know, that's one thing. You could be a father figure. Some kids might look up to you for that.
He is actively taking on that role by constantly making himself a better person, both on and off the court. Cornelius is proud to tell his story because in his eyes, he beat the odds. He has not made it yet, but his journey is far from over. Reporting live from the studio, I'm Erica Morrow.
What an impressive young man. What was most impressive to you when you went out and met him?
Well, just his drive, just his knack and his will to want to do things better. And I mean, he went through a long journey. He went to multiple junior colleges just to get his grades right to qualify for the NCAA, and he finally ended up at Hofstra University.
Thanks so much, E.
No problem. Thank you.
And Cherish McMillan joins us live in the newsroom now. Cherish, what's going on for NCC News at 4:40?
Thanks, Sarah. Coming up at 4:40, we have a look at what the vote in Wisconsin means to Central New York, a sight you can only see twice in a century, and a peek at the opening of Cicero's Farmers Market. That and much more coming up at NCC News on 4:40. Stay tuned. Back to you in the studio.
New York City may soon be banning sugary drinks from restaurants next year, and Disney may be doing the same for television airwaves. That story when we return. Former President Bill Clinton took his support for President Obama one step further by slamming Republican candidate Mitt Romney, stating a nation run by Romney would be catastrophic. Clinton said the president has earned the right to a second term due to his ability to guide the nation through a, quote, miserable economic situation. Clinton's latest remarks come as an apparent rebuttal to his statement last week of Romney's impressive business record. So far, Clinton has helped Obama raise more than $3 million for his campaign. And Disney says its programming will no longer be sponsored by junk food.
The Walt Disney Company says it plans to ban these ads for its TV channels, radio stations, and websites intended for children. That means kids watching Saturday morning cartoons on the company's ABC network will no longer see ads for fast foods and sugary cereals that don't meet Disney's nutrition standards. The guidelines won't go into effect until 2015 because of existing advertising agreements.
TV just isn't the same as it was when we were back when we were kids,
bad.
right? I know. There were some good shows on there. Well, that'll do it for us at NCC News at 4. Stay tuned for more news at 4:40. Thanks for joining us.